Today's video is a really exciting one, and I'm calling it Roofs and Shadows. But really, it's an exploration of clever ink techniques and simple watercolour techniques, which might bring you a newfound confidence when you want to approach complex scenes, but still enjoy yourself and still just get it done in less than 5 hours. And this sketch is probably going to take me about 15 minutes or so. At least that was the plan when I set out. I'm using this rollerball pen, which I've been experimenting with recently, and I'm also using some not black ink, it's aubergine. It's a sort of slightly purpley red. It's very lovely. And what you can see, I'm starting at the highest point on my scene, because the most important thing here for me to get in is the kind of silhouette of the scene. It doesn't really matter where I cut it off. If I get that top point in and I make it small enough, then I'll get something interesting on my page. And that's the first tip. Start at the most important bit and just recognise what you need to get in on your page to make the scene work. And everything else, well, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. We're then playing with a fun, continuous line. I haven't taken my pen off the page yet. And this comes down to celebrating our ink. Just remember, you're ink sketching. That means we are using lots of lines. Now, nothing in the world really has dark lines in it. Well, I suppose some things do, but broadly, houses are not divided by black lines or dark lines. They are just blocks of colour and light and shadow. So already, by using ink, we are drawing something and we are simplifying it, we are changing it. So celebrate that fact. Do something fun with your lines, whether that's a continuous line like me, or whether that is playful hatching or some other experiment. Now, the next tip is to work in segments. What you can hopefully see is I started on the top right and I drew the outline of the first selection of houses, and then I came back and did the details. I then worked across to the left, and now I'm in the middle. I drew the outline, and then I'm picking and choosing a few details, a few windows, and now I'm moving down into this kind of middle row of flats which we could see in the scene. I'm getting the outline and then a few details. By doing that, we're never overstretching, we're never getting too lost in the image, and that means that we'll stay relatively accurate, and it's not going to be perfectly accurate. Remember, we are ink urban sketchers. We are coming straight in with our ink. We are brave. We are having fun. So mistakes are going to happen, and that's all right. In fact, that is a lot of the fun. That is a huge amount of the fun for me, at least. So we just need to come up with strategies which allow us to get what we want out of the scene. For me, working in little segments on a complex scene means each segment can reference against another. I can match it up, make sure it lines up just about right with the other segments, focus on the details only in that segment, and then move on. And then it kind of gets to the point where, you know what, things matter less. And that would be tip number 4. Now, I really wish I could have thought of a more succinct way of writing that, but essentially less detail, less accuracy is needed the further from the focal area we are. So if I'm saying that those buildings at the top right of our scene are the most interesting bit, that means the further I get from there, the more that my sketch can become about celebrating the ink, having fun, being playful, and just making the art work rather than necessarily making the scene perfect. That at least is my approach. And for me, that's a very freeing approach, which lets my mind wander, lets me enjoy the processes of creation, which is probably what we're all after. At least if you're watching this channel, that is almost certainly what we're after. Now, to get something complex, we need to make a decision at some point about how to frame it. And so having a framing element, that might be a tree which is looming in on the left, or it might be a tree or set of hedges underneath the scene, or in this instance we got a sort of barrier coming in under the scene. That framing element just guides the eye. It tells the eye, that big bold line coming across, tells the eye to stop. Then we need to make sure we have some contrast in our scene. Contrast is the spice of life. Contrast is what makes things feel 3D. Contrast is the light and dark in your image. Without contrast, without there being bold blacks, you will not have light whites. A white page looks fairly white, but a white spot on a black page looks very luminous. It looks like it's really bright. So we're going to come round now in our scene and just find the lines which worked, make them bolder. Find the places we want to have shadows and celebrate our ink with some hatching or other textures to increase the value. Find where we need structure, the focal area, get more ink in there so that it pops out, so that it feels like it's important to our scene. All of these different things, all of these extra layers of ink are nothing more clever than a little bit of contrast. Focusing that contrast as well around the focal area is really important. It is what draws our eye. Our eye is drawn to areas of contrast, whether that's contrast in value like this, shadow and light, or whether it's contrast in colour, which we're coming to. That is how we make our eye pick something out. It's how our brain knows to look somewhere for places which are different. Stops us just looking at blank sheets of paper all the time and getting more excited by art. So don't consider your line work done when your outline is done. Get those lines working hard, get some variety in the lines and get some textures from your line work as well. Now, here's something which we're going to call controversial, but I love it. Hatching the sky. This is another way of playing with the idea of contrast and texture, playing with enjoying what we're doing, enjoying our ink, showing the process of our art. But I'm showing you this to show you how long it also takes. You need to take your time with these things. Okay, yeah, I've sped it up now, I know I've sped it up now, but you can probably imagine that this took me at least 10 minutes in real time of slowly, carefully drawing the marks. But I got them done and I really like them, which means we can move on to the next tip, which is what not to paint. Just pick a theme. And what do I mean by that? So your theme could be anything, but a theme in this instance, for example, might be roofs. We have lots of roofs in this image, this reference, and in my version of it. So we can decide that roofs are going to be the main focus of the paint and that we're going to paint very little else except perhaps some shadows. And that's the approach I decided to take with this. So I find a few roofs which are nice bright red. I find some which are more, aubergine, more sort of purpley red. And I start with those. That also feels quite fun and joins in nicely with the delicate ink. I also want to add a few shadows. So I find a few places which I just want to tone down gently. But the main focus on bright colours is those roofs. So with those little shadows in, I come back and add another layer of red to those now dry roofs. Now this whole process takes a bit of time as well. Got to be gentle and considered. When we're learning what not to paint, it won't just happen. If you just take no time to think and don't remember your goal, you will just paint everything and it will become chaotic, especially in a chaotic scene like this. Your colours will be chaotic if you just try and fill the whole page. So taking time, working gently around the scene is what my aim is here. Picking out a few roofs as the main focus for the paint. And again, here's some silly touches where we just pick out a few little marks to make painterly, pick out some bold shadows to, again, enhance that contrast and make the scene pop out a little bit more. Don't rush to the finish. You don't need to constantly be doing anything. Just take your time to take a step back occasionally, to have a look, to see what's happening before diving in with perhaps another layer here, another layer there, some brighter colours there, some bolder colours here. And space is really important. And I mean that literally as a physical thing. Take a step back from your painting and look at how it's going. And you might start to think that although, for example here, there's loads of white space, actually I'm also almost done. And that's the thing about complexity, is learning to simplify. Instead of a blue sky, some blue splashes in the sky does everything I need it to do. We might come in for a couple more touches of little shadows, using that blue somewhere else so it's not too distracting just in the sky. And then when you're not sure what else to do, just stop, pop your signature on, own your painting, be happy, be proud. And I will of course see you in the next video. If you find this kind of thing useful, if you like these little hints and tips, then you'll probably enjoy my free course. My courses are in-depth, but they are this style of teaching. You get feedback, which I think is really important. Any comments, any art you want to post in my courses, I will personally come and comment on. And we cover, especially in the beginner's course, all of these concepts, ideas, common challenges, and simple ways to just start creating and enjoying it a bit more. So if you want to do that, you can join me on sketchloose.co.uk. Link is down below and you can start with a totally free course.